Hello, my dear audience. Yo quiero tener 1 millón de amigos y así más fuerte poder cantar. Yo quiero tener 1 millón de amigos y así más fuerte poder cantar. I have wanted to start by singing the excerpt of this song because I have always thought Facebook is the prospect of bringing to life this Roberto Carlos desire. Having 1 million friends so he could sing louder, which is a nice metaphor to kind of meaning that unity is strength or that a friend is another self. Well, some days ago I found this post on Facebook. Before you speak, let your words pass through these gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And I had this spontaneous idea, writing something about how this applies to Facebook, to what people post on this social network, which must be the most popular, the most widely used. But I will change the post a little bit and I will put it this way. Before you acting understood, saying or posting anything, absolutely anything on Facebook, let your actions pass through these through these gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Is it wise or sensible or prudent? 4 gates that overlap with the so-called principle of cooperation and the conversational maxims. According to Paul Grice, when communicating, people are expected to comply with the cooperative principle and some maxims of conversation. The cooperative principle, make your contribution such as is required at the stage at which it occurs by the accepted purpose or duration of the talk exchange in which you are engaged. The maxims of conversation are 4. The maxim of quality, try to make your contribution one that is true specifically. Do not say what you believe to be false. Do not say that for which you lack adequate evidence. The maxim of quantity, make your contribution as informative as is required for the current purposes of the exchange. Do not make your contribution more informative than is required. The maxim of relational relevance, make your contributions relevant. The maxim of manner, be perspicuous and specifically. Avoid obscurity, avoid ambiguity, be brief, avoid unnecessary prolixity, be orderly. I'm aware that some scholars have modified and even criticized Grice's theory, but I am comfortable with his principle of cooperation and his maxims. On the other hand, both the principle and the maxims are operative for the analysis I intend to make of my subject matter, that is Facebook. Facebook, as I said, must be the most popular social network, the social network where people interact the most. And this interaction between people means there must be cooperation. There is turn taking, and there should be an observance of the cooperative principle and the conversational maxims. However, there are constant violations of the maxims, and consequently, there is often a breach of politeness, which is in itself one more maxim, or the sum total of the 4 maxims. Facebook is designed in such a way that people can interact both verbally and non-verbally. Verbally, we all know when people write comments, ask questions, give an opinion, agree or disagree, answer, and so on. Non-verbally, because of the icons, for instance, the well-known and abused hand icon and the myriad emojis. By the way, emojis was chosen as la palabra del año, the word of the year 2019, by the Fundeo BBVA or Fundación del Español Urgente. But, well, let's get down to brass tacks. The first question of the post shown at the beginning is it true? Thus, this question or this gate would be tantamount to the maxim of quality. Try to make your contribution one that is true specifically. Do not say what you believe to be false. Do not say that for which you lack adequate evidence. And we all know Facebook has been a breeding ground for fake news. I, for one, have long learned to take the information found on Facebook with a grain of salt. It is as if I always bore in mind that seeing is believing, and in order to believe that information, I have to see somewhere else in a reliable source. In other words, before I speak, before I repeat the news found on Facebook, I let my words pass through this first gate. Is it true? Needless to say, it is a perilous phenomenon. It has been found that, I quote, false political information tends to spread 3 times faster than other false news. End of quotation. And this is precisely why, according to several media, I quote, fake news may have influenced the outcome of the 2016 American presidential election. End of quotation. So then, how did Facebook influence the outcome of the 2016 presidential election in the USA? Because, I quote, fake news saw higher sharing on Facebook than legitimate news stories, which analysts explained was because fake news often panders to expectations or is otherwise more exciting than legitimate news. End of quotation. The second question is necessary. This item would correspond to the maximum of quantity, which warns us against making our contribution more informative than is required. In addition, the question is necessary relates to the maximum of manner, inasmuch as this maximum advises us to be brief and avoid unnecessary prolixity. And on this, I feel I have to elaborate. Is it necessary to publish detailed pictures and videos of the delicacies and the banquets you have at home? What is the need of posting these photos once and again and again? On the other hand, many people have several Facebook accounts. I would like to have several bank accounts, but what is the use of having several Facebook accounts? They have one. And one day they request your friendship one more time, and when you check, there is no photo. There is no photo, no face, something that would seem to be breaking a Facebook rule if we only look at this social network's name. How can we know it is not a hacker or somebody who is doing that for the hell of it? Likewise, I wonder, is it necessary to constantly send chain letters, even to people who are against it, even to people who protest publicly against those chain letters, which can make your device and yourself vulnerable? Our next question is it kind? It is not inherent in Paul Grice's theory, but Geoffrey Leech considered a politeness principle, one of which maxims was the generosity maxim. The essence of this maxim is, I quote, minimize the expression of beliefs that express or imply benefit to self. Maximize the expression of beliefs that express or imply cost to self. End of quotation. The maxim of generosity focuses on the speaker, and it emphasizes that we should prioritize the otherness. The posting of photos we referred to in the previous item is unnecessary, is a violation of the maxim of generosity. The way some group members react to somebody's question, I see some rude and arrogant reactions in the translators and interpreters group I belong to, also illustrates well the breach of the maxim of generosity. A member asks a question, asks for help on a given topic, and there goes a shower of hearty responses, sometimes reaching the limits of insult. It is a good thing that there is always a charitable soul who mediates and soothes the situation. The last question or gate is wise or sensible or prudent? This is the gate I myself added to the ones present in the Facebook post that inspired this material. I would say this gate is contained in the maxim of manner. Be perspicuous and specifically avoid obscurity, avoid ambiguity. Be brief and avoid unnecessary prolixity. Be orderly. I said before that emoji was declared the Spanish language word of 2019, and this can be symptomatic. People really abuse emojis on Facebook, even those who have friends from other cultures. However, facial expressions are culture bound. I don't use emojis, I confess, because I think I can decode what many of them stand for. And I have told some emoji senders, please tell me in words. And I mean people from my own environment, from my own culture. We cannot forget nonverbal communication is often ambiguous. Larry Samovar and Richard E. Potter, in Communication Between Cultures, mention, I quote, the 6 pan-cultural and universal facial expressions: happiness, sadness, fear, anger, disgust, and surprise. And continue to admit that, I quote, despite the biological-based nature of facial expressions, there seem to be clear cultural expectations as to how cultural norms often dictate when, how, and to whom facial expressions are displayed. Later, they claim, quote, the smile is yet another emotional display that is linked to one's culture, and that even within a culture, there are groups that use facial expressions differently from the dominant culture, end of quotation. The already mentioned sending of chain letters also denotes lack of wisdom, imprudence. Is it wise or sensible or prudent? One more example. Many people click on the like icon as a reaction to a news of somebody who just died or is sick. How come? And the maximum relevance is also connected to this question. I have seen it sometimes in the forums. In the translators and interpreters group, every now and then, there is someone who asks questions having nothing to do with the group's objectives. And at times, I don't know whether it is a troll or a tactless individual. To conclude, I am hereby encouraging Facebook users not to say or do the first thing coming to their mind, and to observe these maxims, which is equivalent to being tactful. Let's make of Facebook a platform where we help our friends move by rational obligations rather than by selfish inclinations, to use Immanuel Kant's categories. And I want to finish precisely by quoting Kant's 2 formulations of his well-known categorical imperative. The formula of the law of nature: act as if the maximum of your action were to become through your will a universal law of nature, and the formula of the end in itself: act in such a way that you always treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, never simply as a means, but always at the same time as an end. End of quotation. Thank you, and feel free to comment and to subscribe.